about is let's talk about some experiences and stuff like that. Okay, I got something very important that I want to share with you that I have found in me and a fellow, um, well, now this person I would call a dark magician, you know, because that's the title he wants. But anyway, we had an experience that was very similar, okay? It was an out-of-body experience, okay, an OBE, okay? And you got different types. You got the OBE where you're out of your body. You got the near-death experience. But the difference between the two is that one, you're clinically dead, and that's because you got to be in a hospital setting and you have to be flatlined. So that makes you what they would call a NDE, a near-death experience. And then you have, you know, which you're clinically dead, and then you have your OBE, which they're still the same, but you're not in a clinical setting, but you're still having the same experience that the person who in a hospital setting had, which is a NDE, a near-death experience. Okay, so I've had the OBE, and I'm sure I've talked to you about the OBE, the out-of-body experience. And I have astral travel. I've done a combination of the two. I will say that they are definitely different. A lot would say, you know, what's the difference in it? Well, the difference in astral travel to me versus just the OBE, which both of them you're actually out of the body. But it's like with the astral, the difference is that you're in a place that's not familiar to you, versus with the OBE, you're still in your familiar surroundings, meaning that you're near your body, you can see it and everything. Okay, so let me give you an example. Okay, like with the OBE, which I've had when I came home, I was really tired one night, and I went to go to sleep, getting a little rest, and hang on a minute. Okay, sorry. So I had a little bit of noise in the background, so let's talk about the OBE. Okay, in the OBE, what happened? Okay, I went to bed. I was really tired. I was in nursing school. I got in my bed one night to get me some, I'm sorry, it was not night. It was in the daytime. I got in my bed to get me some sleep. It was like evening time. And no one was in the house but myself. And I was resting, okay? Well, during my sleep, I noticed that I wound up on this mattress. So I was lying on this mattress, and it was strange because I couldn't move. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do anything. But I could look around. And what I noticed is that the sun was out, and it was really bright and pretty on the outside. And I was lying on this mattress. It had no sheets, no blankets, no nothing on it. Then I could look down, and below me I could see, like, for some reason, there were like boards, like 2x4s, and in between each you could see it just about a half an inch gap, and I could see the grass growing under there, forks and spoons and stuff of that nature. Things were under it. Okay, so in other words, I was in some house that had like boards that were they were separated from each other. So, you know, so anyway, from there, it just like my whole life just took flight right in before my eyes, all the way up to my adulthood. And so it's just like this fast forward film that went on. Then from there, I noticed that I felt this suction over my head. I felt a suction. I felt a vacuum suction, like something was pulling me from the top of my head. It was a pull, a force, a vacuum. And I couldn't go at will wherever I wanted to go, whatever. I could only go wherever this force was pulling me. And so I was inside this huge house, looked like a historical home. There was a lady and a man that smiled. It was like they knew me, and I passed them by. I couldn't stop to speak to them or say anything, whatever, because I was being pulled. I was being propelled somewhere. But they were smiling. They were familiar with me, but I just didn't know who they were. And as I went, I noticed that there was no sound. I noticed that it was a place of sadness to me because there was no sound. There was no people. It was a very lonely place. And inside of this house, you know, there were furniture and stuff like that. But I was like above, like as high as the ceiling, because I was looking down at everything. So I was trying to figure out what was going on. So I looked down at myself and I noticed I didn't have a body. I didn't have arms, legs, feet. I didn't have anything. So what I did is I imagined myself, my body that I had. So I had to imagine the body that I had. And then when I did it, I noticed that I did have legs, arms, and feet. But I was weightless. I had no sensation of pain. I had no emotions of fear. I had no emotion. The only thing I felt was kind of sadness, like loneliness. And that's the only thing I felt. But I remember saying to myself, I am dead. I remember thinking it in my head, it's just thoughts. Everything there is like thinking. It's just thought. There's no communication with the voice thing. It's just like everything is telepathic, And so as I proceeded further, I noticed that I was going down this huge, fast tunnel of light. And it was just like a beautiful sunny day, and I was traveling so fast that I couldn't even see what was beside me. Everything was blurred out. As I got further down, I noticed that I came to this dark hallway. There's a hallway, and down that dark hallway was a door. And the reason I knew it was a door, even though it was dark in there, is because there was a light that was coming from the other side of the door, and it was like an orange reddish light. So if any of you all have had any sights of this orange reddish light, please let me know about that, because I definitely have been curious what was behind that door, because once I got to it, I stopped. Something actually stopped me, and it was like a telepathic language letting me know that I had a choice. I could either go behind that door or I could come back. And I remember saying, no, I don't want to go behind that. I want to go home. And there was no sound coming from it. There was nothing coming from it, only the light, the mystery of whatever it is. And I'm going to paint that and create that, so I want y'all to get a chance to see what that looks like. I'm going to paint my experience just for my family so they can see exactly what it looks like. And this completes this video, and I'm going to go further to talk about the other person's experience, and so I can come up with a conclusion. We're going to come up with a conclusion. Hang on a minute.